Hello and welcome to PAXTON Road TV. I am Sam Spurs for life, and the smile on my face shows that this is the big one. This is the one we all look forward to, the North London derby. Arsenal, I can't wait. It's the game. It's the game that we always look forward to. You either get excited or you get a little bit dreading you, but I'm looking forward to the game. It's always a good game against Arsenal. But before we start, please hit that like button if you're new to the channel. Subscribe as well. Help us out with the analytics. It really does help out. And in the house today, the Fab Four. I include myself in that Fab Four, by the way. But we have Mike Hotspur Hustler, Darius 3K, and Sid says, I
was gonna call us a fantastic four, but we'd probably get done for copyright.
No, copyright.
We'll keep it a Fab Four. I do enjoy that.
Even that might get copyrighted with the Beatles and that, but I don't care. The Beatles, they're long gone. Right then, let's get the banners up going across. So the game tomorrow, as talked about, Arsenal versus Spurs, North London derby, kickoff 4:30. Watch out for the game. We will all be watching. I have no doubt about that. Right then, let's get into this show. Any game against Arsenal is always a difficult game. Always has a lot of significance. But I've got written down here, what's your feeling? What's your personal feeling going into this game tomorrow? Mike, let's start with you at the top. What's your feelings going into this game? Hotspur Hustler, take it away.
I'm probably quite confident, even though we haven't had the best couple of weeks this season. The last couple of weeks hasn't been great as such. I think from what I saw midweek against Wolves, I know, albeit it was against a weaker Wolves side, but we've got the players back. They seem to be free from injury. I know Lucas Moura seems to be back fully training, which is a big plus for us. I'm quite confident. I mean, the players in midweek, a lot of them got good minutes under their belts. Okay, it's at Arsenal's ground and we haven't had much luck there over the years and stuff, but you look at Arsenal's side and you look at our side, I still got quite confident that we can get a good result tomorrow.
I always have to have that sort of feeling going into these North London derbies. Confidence is all about. It's not about the form, as we all know. You could be terrible form. It's just about the performance. So, Darius, are you confident about tomorrow?
So you know what? I'm making it more of a difficult question than it is, to be fair, because I sort of used to get my confidence and excitement from sort of those brazen Arsenal fans, sort of maybe getting a bit overexcited and maybe overconfident. But they've obviously come back down to the level that they seem to realize the level that they're at now, and they seem to know where they stand, and they haven't been talking as much. I don't know about your Arsenal friends, lads, but my Arsenal friends for sure haven't been talking near as much as they normally do, even when they're playing bad. So I've sort of, it's not that I'm confident or less confident. I'm just sort of, I don't know, I'm more chilled about this North London derby. It doesn't seem as intense, but what I will say is, in terms of importance for both teams, it is probably our biggest game of the season, I would say, just in terms of if we win this and we win it well, even though that doesn't matter in this game, I think a lot of people will forget about what's happened in the past 2-3 weeks. However, if we don't win this, I think it will pile it on a lot more. That's the issue with this game. And I think this game will go one of two. It will literally go one of two ways, in my opinion. Either both teams will continue being the sort of poor team that they've been, and I think you will see a 0-0. It will just be a horrible game. And that's very rare in a North London derby. I think the last one was like 2010. So I think you either see a horrible, stinky 0-0, both teams playing awful, or it will be the complete opposite. You will see like a 3-2, 4-3, both teams not really playing well, defending well, and just sort of having to go and win the game. Because at the end of the day, like I said, I think both teams, the reason why I think this game will be cagey is because both teams sort of need to win. And if one, like I said, Tottenham lose, it's going to look bad because they'll be on level points, and based on goal difference, they may even go above us. So I just think one of two ways this game will go: cagey, or it will be very open, just because both teams, I think, are nervous and of the same quality at the moment. We've got a cameo.
Is that
you got a feeling?
I think you got
music.
Is he got? Is that got a feeling?
I think that was Black Eyed Peas. I'm pretty sure
it was Black Eyed Peas. We caught it already. He's been caught out, but Sid.
I was gonna say I'm very good at those because we used to do that all the time. We used to try and guess songs back at school all the time. So if I hear 2 seconds of a song, I'll know what it is.
On that all the time.
You can't sneak it in like that, Sid. You gotta come one better than that.
Sid, things coming soon.
God, anyway, let us
Go on,
come
here's
to
with it then. Let's hear it.
Let's come to Sid Spurs. Let's come to him. How are you feeling? Let's see how he's feeling. I'm sure he's got something to make us feel good. Go on, Sid.
Here we go. I got a feeling that tomorrow's gonna be a good day.
Oh Jesus! Oh Jesus! Oh Jesus! What are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing on this show?
I said this last night on Afternoon as well, and I said it many times. Tottenham Arsenal, you cannot predict anything. It is what it is on the day. Form goes out the window. Results, what's been going on so far in the season. I know we started off really well, won the first 3 games. They've lost the first 3 games. Now, tomorrow could be one of them where if they beat us, they're level on points. So, going into the game, you can never, ever call a North London derby. How many times have we said this before? They've gone into the derbies thinking, oh, yeah, we're going to whack them. We've gone into the derbies and we've said we're going to whack them. But it's so unpredictable. And it's just going to be who turns up tomorrow, who wants it more. And it's going to be, obviously, if they're going to play for that. Yeah,
it's all about that. It's all about that.
It's all about that. And tomorrow, more than any other thing, that is going to come into the equation. Because if we're not together tomorrow, man, we need to be together tomorrow and play as a team, as a unit. 100%. And we just got to go out there and do the job.
100%. We famously, I remember this game when it was at the Emirates last season, and our intro. If you've not seen our intro, by the way, our promo video, watch that. This was famously when Darius said the lines, "We don't have to do much in this game," and we ended up losing 2-1 after the Rabono. That was one of the classic clips ups that we've got. We went into that game overconfident, I think, and Arsenal were on a bit of a hide into nothing at that time, and obviously we lost the game. This is North London derbies. You cannot predict anything. They might be thinking, if we win this, we're going to go above Spurs. We're thinking to ourselves, we get this victory, we're back on a roll, putting that distance between us. It is anything. Anything goes tomorrow. But let's have a look at the actual league table in terms of the league form and stuff like this. My nice little graphic, as done by Talk MU, by the way. Thank you very much, Talk MU, for the graphics. Fantastic job. Brilliant. Here we go. We had all the jokes of last week when we said our Arsenal, we couldn't put them on the same page just when they were 20th. They're not 20th anymore. You know, they're creeping up the table.
That's not as bad as I thought, though. You know what? That league table is not as bad as I thought it was.
No, 4 points off top. If you put it that way, we won 3, we lost 2. Drawn games, you know, I mean, I'd rather, as all the saying goes, you win 1, lose 1 rather than draw 2 in a row, more points. So, in effect, no draws have made that we've on the 9 points. We get the victory tomorrow. We'll be in and around that top 6-ish area, I would imagine, depending on how results go. But the question to ask is, what are we expecting, I guess, Arsenal to come with? Are they going to come very cagey? Do you think they're going to go for it? And then how will Nuno, how will Nuno, I said it again, Nuno then compensate for that? Do you think he's going to be very pragmatic in his approach, or is he going to say, you know what, North London derby lads, just give it all? Darius, what do you think the approach is going to be from both teams?
I was watching AFTV the other day, and I think James from AFTV made a good point, and he said that he's worried because this is sort of Nuno's bread and butter, the way that Arsenal play. Because you know what Arsenal are like, they want to keep the ball. They want to sort of maybe almost keep the ball a bit too much and then look to sort of build plays very, very technically. And then once they get to the final third, Arsenal don't really do much. They seem to be able to build up the play until they get into the final third, and then it's just about whipping a ball in the box. So I think if that's what the case is, maybe people, and again, I don't know what your guys' stance on it is, but away from home at Emirates, I'm not bothered about sort of how much possession we keep, how much we dominate the game, as long as we can get a result. So I think we'll be probably a little bit deeper than people expect. I know that is quite reminiscent of Jose, but I think we'll probably play a little bit deeper. and just basically frustrate Arsenal and try and catch them on the counter. I think the big battles, for me, the main two battles in the game, I don't even think it's the midfield, because I think we should win that battle quite simply if we have Hotspur and Skip. And Ndombele, I know they've got Partey. I know Lokonga seems to be quite a good talent, to be fair. He does seem like a very good talent. And they also have players like Odegaard and Smith Rowe. But I think the midfield battle will be won. You know what it is for me? It's Son versus Tomiyasu and Kane versus their centre-backs. I think those two partnerships will make a difference. I think Kane against Ben White and Gabriel, he should be having a field day. As long as he stays on one of them and sort of acts like a striker and stays on the last man, then he should have a field day against those two centre-backs. And Tomiyasu and Son, I'm so looking forward to that battle, because I think that will be a real battle. And I think Tomiyasu will play well, but Son should be able to come on top. So, yeah, I think it'll be KG. We'll probably have not that much possession. Probably a lot of people will be frustrated that we haven't dominated the game, but it is Nuno's bread and butter. It's sort of a team that likes to dominate possession, and Nuno can just be patient, drop his team off, and catch him on the counter. Yeah. So that's what I think will happen. If it doesn't, then it will be because Arsenal was sort of nervous and cagey, and I just think it will be a pretty poor game in terms of quality. But you could see goals. Like I said, it will either be a lot of goals or it will be no goals whatsoever. So that's me. I only think it can go two ways. I don't think you'll see like a 1-1 or a 2-2. It'll be like a 4-3 or a 0-0 straight up.
It's always going to be nerve-wracking, regardless of you kind of lose yourself in that whole North London thing, so you don't actually see the game until you watch it. Like, that's how I seem to find it. The second time I watched the game, it's like I didn't see that, because you're kind of in the excitement, you're in that sort of feeling, because we all know what to expect. If we have a bad performance, lose the game, we're going to get it from the Arsenal fans. Vice versa, if we win the game, we're going to be all over social media giving them grief. So it's all about that ideal about what do we need. So for me, tomorrow, Nuno's first competitive game. I know we had the game when we beat him in the friendly game 1-0. What are you expecting to see from Nuno in terms of the approach to tomorrow? Do you think he's going to go for it, or do you see him being a bit cagey?
I don't think he's going to go cagey. I think, first off, last week against Chelsea, we done well. We done well first off again against Wolves. So the momentum's there. The penalty shootout win on Wednesday, although it was Wolves, everyone's going to say they didn't have the full strength. We never did, and we struggled. Well, didn't struggle. Well, we struggled second half, and we got the win. I think he's now going to realise that, you know what, tomorrow's game is a massive game, not only for Tottenham fans, Arsenal, it's for everyone, even for Nuno. And he's probably thinking, if I go out there tomorrow and if my players get the job done, do you know what? I've got a couple of weeks where the fan base is going to absolutely go mental, because we won the first 3 games. We've not had decent performances in the last couple of games, and we've not won in a couple of games. Well, the cup game really, but it's penalties, isn't it? But we've not had a decent league win. So if we can go and do that at the Emirates, I think he'll be buzzing. So I don't think he'll be going cagey. I think he's going to go out there to win the game, because he knows we've got the players that can potentially win the game, turn the game. And he knows that Emirates, Arsenal at home, the fans are going to be on their back if they don't perform. So if we go there and nullify them and just go at them, attack them, I think we can beat them. And like what Darius is saying, they're going to be like more possession, aren't they? They want that tiki-taka football, possession based. I'm not bothered like Darius. Even if we get 20% possession, I'm not bothered. But that 20%, if we make it count and we score and we win the game, happy days.
I was just going to say, Sid, are you more bothered about result or performance this game, especially being it at the Emirates? Because for me, I couldn't care about performance this game, just like the Man City game. I genuinely, like you said, if we had 10% possession, 2 shots, 1 on target, and that was a 1-0 win, I'll be running around the street naked, mate, happy. So I don't know about you, but are you a performance over a result, or are you strictly result this match?
This one's all about results, isn't it? We have to have the result. Doesn't matter how we do it. If it gets dirty, if it gets whatever, if it gets you put in an absolute, you know what the worst thing is? You put in a magical performance. Everyone's 10 out of 10, and we lose the game. Yeah, are we going to say, well,
at least you played well, yeah.
Yeah, well, at least we played well. No, I'd rather play shit and win the 1-0. I'm not bothered. I'm not really 100%. Bothered.
And I think they'll probably be the same as well.
Yeah, exactly. I think
that lot in red.
Yeah, both teams are going to go in there tomorrow.
Yeah, I was going to say, so I think both teams are probably going to have a very similar approach because it's one of them games where I don't think either of us, although it's silly to say either of us can't afford to lose it, because obviously you can afford to lose a game. But this is one of the games where if they lose it, that's going to put them back into the 100%. They're going to be back in and around the mire because, you know, they can't afford to lose too many games after the start they've had. The fact that we've had, you know, 4 games now without winning a game, obviously take into consideration we got through in the last round of the League Cup, but we didn't actually win the game. It was 2-2. So we've had 2-2 draws and 2 3-0 losses. So we need to get some sort of performance going. So Mike, I'll come to you before. What do you want? Is it just about getting this game 1-0, 2, whatever the score is to win, or is it about seeing how they perform more so for games ahead?
It's got to be the result, hasn't it? Like the guys have said below, I don't really care how we play tomorrow as long as we get the 3 points. I think that's the most important thing against that lot of red, isn't it? I mean, a bonus would be that we get a win and play very well. You'd take that all day long. And that would give us momentum from, if you go from, say, Wolves to, if we get the 3 points tomorrow, you can take that momentum on into the next game. I mean, you could argue we're due a league win.
I think we've been unlucky. Like, honestly, I'll keep saying this for those past 2 3-0s. The Crystal Palace one, I'll keep saying extenuating circumstances. We hit the sorry, we hit the post. Obviously, we had a red card. Obviously, we had an injury. There's situations for that, and then again, the Chelsea players, multiple players missing, and then the Chelsea game for me equaled them, if not better, in the first half. And just because their manager is of that level where he can make a tactical change that will change the game, unfortunately, again, I'm not using that as an excuse, but when you bring on Kante on the pitch, it's going to change the game. And let's not forget about the goals as well. One of them was a crazy deflection. So it's again, I can understand why we lost 3-0. We chased the game in the second half. Rudiger gets a goal. Rudiger gets a third goal. I can understand that. So what you're saying, Mike, is true. We can't really look at those 3-0s and think it's been awful, it's been horrible. It has been bad. It looks bad, but
do you know what,
there's definitely things to take away from those 3-0s. That's the main thing for me.
And with that Chelsea,
I was just saying, with that Chelsea game, it didn't look like the players were together to me. You know, they all look very individual. Kane just looked like he didn't want to be there. The difference I saw between that game and then the one on Wednesday, although, you know, we did suffer a little bit because, again, 2 goals that we shouldn't have conceded, we did. It just seemed that they were more together. They seemed a little bit more of a unit. They seemed to be playing for each other, particularly Harry Kane. And if you cut the mistakes out of that performance on Wednesday when we played Wolves, I think it could have been a very comfortable game. But it's the pressure. Again, this going back to last season, the season's gone by. You can see the goal. We seem to have this almost dread factor. Oh, God. And that happened again last season in the game we played against Arsenal with the Rabona goal going 1-0 up. And then obviously they win the game eventually 2-1. In terms of what Nuno had to say when he was asking his press conference, he was asked the question what to expect from Spurs in his first, you know, competitive North London derby. This is what he had to say.
League manager.
We expect a tough match, and for us, we have to compete. We have to play and compete well, give everything that we can, and play good. Playing good is finding the right balance between, in our game, improvements to be made, but a lot of positives that we take from the previous game. So let's keep on going.
I agree. I actually agree.
Yeah, actually, that was one of his better interviews that I saw yesterday. He's very cagey, but he was a little bit more open. He looked a lot more relaxed in the actual press conference. I think there was been couple ones before. And again, we don't know all the stuff that goes on behind the scenes. He looked like he was under a lot more pressure. And I think just getting through that round against Wolves has eased that pressure a little bit so we can go into this game with a little bit more clarity on how he wants to approach. I know myself, having done management at grassroots level, even that, you know, you lose a couple of games, you're then pressured thinking, what do I do? Do I change this? Do I make this decision?
Change it,
and everything kind of comes on top of you, where if you've got a little more clarity of thinking, you can make the decisions that you know that you should, as opposed to being forced into decisions that you know you might not want to do, but, you know, the crowd's on you, the players are not happy. It's a little bit calmer. So I'm hopeful that. Do you see a counter-attack or attack game tomorrow, Darius? From both teams, that is.
That's such a good question. I think it really depends. I'll be able to tell you basically after 5 minutes, but I think it will depend on also how the game goes as well. I think you could see that type of game, but I think you'd have to see an early goal for that sort of game to sort of spawn and become apparent. I don't think the plans of both managers will be to attack. I really don't, even though it makes sense. And like you said, people have made good points in the stream saying how we need it. We sort of need the result. We need to fight, but I just don't see that sort of both managers going all out. Maybe Arteta, which will maybe entice Nuno to be a little bit more, going forward, because he sees that they've got a high line and a few more players going forward. But I don't think that's going to be the intention. I think it will be either, like you said, it's one of two things. Either there will be an early goal, and like you said, you'll be right in what you say. There'll be a straight box to box, end to end game, or it is going to be a cagey one, and people aren't going to want to make mistakes. Because I know for a fact, if I was an Arsenal player at the Emirates, there's more pressure for them. If they lose the game, it will be more heated for them. So that's why I'm struggling to think it will be don't get me wrong, I want it to be an end-to-end game, but I really don't think it will be. I hope it is, though. I really hope it is, but I just don't think it will be.
Would you rather see, I don't know, you say, the end-to-end games for me, I've seen many of them in North London derbies. That one, I think it was, what was it, the 4-4 one? That was one of them games. It was just it was crazy. And I think there was one that was was it 5-2 to them? I've seen a couple of games like that where it's like, it's just too much.
Not enjoyable. It's not enjoyable, is it?
It's too much on the day. I just don't want to see it. I want to see a comfortable Spurs pick the first goal and then Spurs win 2-0. That's what I'd love to see. But I know, and we all know, it's probably not going to happen like that. It's going to be ups and downs as we had last season. Ultimately,
lineup will be a big thing as well. Sorry to interrupt you. I think that will also change how they play as well.
I was going to say that is going to be the big factor. So this is what I'm just going to bring up now. This is the graphic that shows our last 5 games against them lot. As I said, the last time we won in the league against Arsenal at the Emirates was 2010. As I said, Yunus Kabul header to win when we came back from 2-0 down in that game. Rafael van der Vaart penalty. I think
I watched that game. Was that the game that Abue got sent off?
No, I don't think anybody got sent off in that game.
I might be mistaken.
But we were 2-0 down. I'm sure we were 2-0 down. Fabregas scored. I can't remember exactly who scored for Arsenal, but I know Yunus Kabul header. It was classic, that was. But as I said, we haven't had too bad a record at the Emirates in terms of not losing. But the actual wins themselves haven't really come as a sense of 2010. Do you think Arsenal are gonna think to themselves, right, we're gonna shut? Okay, go back to how Arteta should approach the game. I really think he's gonna go for it tomorrow. I think he wants to maybe make a statement, and I think they've got better attacking players than they have defensive players, kind of like us as well. So I think Arsenal are gonna go for it. Who do you see as being the main threat from them going into the game tomorrow? Mike, who's their main threats?
Their main threat. Going for, I'd say probably Odegaard, however you pronounce his name. Potentially Saka if he's playing. I know there's 2 names that I haven't mentioned, Lacazette and Aubameyang, but
as you shouldn't mention them, mate.
I obviously, saying this, I'm not going to say too much. I don't want to jinx things, but I just don't. Those 2 names that I haven't mentioned, I just don't. They don't. I don't know. There's just nothing about them that sort of makes me nervous. But Saka, he's a good player. I'm not gonna pretend he's not. And Odegaard, he seems to have something about him. I don't think he's the finished article by any stretch of imagination now, but he has got talent. I think he just probably needs. He's one of them players that I think in a couple of seasons you might start seeing him sort of take it up a notch in terms of his levels. But Partey, is Partey a threat? I wouldn't say in front of goal.
He improves their team.
But he certainly does improve their team. And I mean, other than that, if you stop the supply to Saka and if you stop sort of Odegaard playing, so I don't know if Lacazette and Aubameyang are both going to play, but if you stop the service. That's the word I was thinking. I couldn't think of the word then. Stop the service into the forwards, then you stand a good chance, don't you?
I think it's all going to depend on what Darius has said in terms of team selection. If I see
It does.
Odegaard and Smith Rowe in the same team tomorrow,
No, I
I know
forgot
they're
about
going
Smith
for
Rowe.
it. That will show me that they're going for it, because those two players very similar, but they're both attacking intent.
And I think that's what majority of Arsenal fans want. By the way, Sam, I think that's some of them are saying, because when I was speaking to a few Arsenal fans, some of them were saying we do want to see the 4-3-3, but a lot of them were also like, we don't want to sort of overcommit. And then obviously, because like you said, Nuno would love to see two attacking midfielders. That'd be loving that. So it goes both ways. But sorry to interrupt you. Carry on.
No, but like I said, it all depends on what they do and then how we do. Because our balance has got to be right. I think Nuno said that in his press conference. He's got to get that balance right. He might have been swayed more so by the crowd, let's say, had we not got through on Wednesday. And I think that would have forced him to maybe go a lot more attacking than maybe he plans on doing tomorrow anyway. I still think we've got to have good attacking intent. We can't see Skip Højbjerg wince in the team tomorrow.
I don't think we will.
No.
Look at everybody's face.
And notice how he's not played a single game since that Crystal Palace match as well. Harry Winks.
That midfield three will never be seen in Spurs shirts ever again.
No.
It is done. That has been made extinct.
And I'm happy that he learned that lesson, because like I said, he hasn't played that that player since. So and people tried to tell me that he wasn't the main issue, but
you three are
definitely
funny.
And it's also funny. I don't want to see Ndombele defending from set pieces. I don't want to see Ali defending from set pieces. So if we've got to defend from set pieces, I would rather Harry Kane, like he was doing. Put him in the make him defend set pieces and have Ali and Ndombele out of that 18-yard box for the break. I'd be more than happy with that. I don't want to see those two in that box.
Yeah, true.
Well, Sid, I'm going to come to you next, because this is and I'll put this up again. This is the graphic from the game Wednesday. I was going to put the Chelsea team up, but I thought, you know what, there might be some players here that did enough to maybe force Nuno's hand. So I was going to ask a question based on the performances of the game on Wednesday. Do you know? Of course you don't know. But do you? But do you think that Nuno might put a few surprise starters out? Who would they be if they were going to be?
My lineup, I would say, right. Obviously, Lloris is going to be in goal. I think Reguilon, obviously. I think it's going to be Sanchez and Dyer. I wouldn't start Romero, because obviously North London derby, and it's a massive, massive game. And Sanchez and Dyer have done it for the first 3 games, 3 clean sheets.
What about your mate number 18, Lo Celso?
Who?
Sid. You might be the most correct person about that.
I know. I have to take one back.
I don't want to actually agree with you, but the performance that he showed against Wolves and recently have been stinky, like very, very bad.
I didn't want to admit it either, but Sid's now got me on that Lo Celso train now. I might even have to call number 18 soon, and that's how close I'm getting. I'm getting that close.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, obviously, the question is, right, I want Gil to start. Do you know what? You know what I would do, actually? I would have Son and Gil and Kane, and then I'd have Ndombele, I'd have Dele, and then I'd have Højbjerg. But I'd start with Gil and Son. But I know he's not gonna. I think he's gonna start with Mora. But I think Gil deserves a start.
100%.
I mean, it's North London derby, and he could terrorize them if he does what he's been doing last couple of games, even on Wednesday. He could terrorize Arsenal, and Arsenal will not want to see him, because if we have him running at him left, right, and centre, and Xhaka's going to do something stupid if he plays or whatever, I think it could be the coming of Gil tomorrow. Honestly, I can think if he starts, that could be the coming of him.
That's a very good point. You know, the other player that for me that could terrorize, and I don't want to take away from Darius's lineup show, but I think Ndombele, if he has a sparkler tomorrow, he's the type of player that will raise his game, and it's the type of player that I think Arsenal won't want to play against, because he's just that good. And if he plays high up the pitch, and then comes up against their back four to be able to thread them balls in. If Kane plays up top high, which I think he will do, then we've got plenty of opportunities, I think, to get in and score goals. And this is what I'm saying about Arsenal's approach. Because they're at home, they might be forced to be on the front foot a bit more, which might leave more gaps. So we're going to have to really get that right. So the balance is definitely got to get right. Mike, in terms of any surprise starters, anyone in there that you think may make it that you might not have thought before Wednesday's game?
No, I think Sid has probably hit the nail on the head there. I think Hill potentially deserves a start, but
not Ben Davies. No Ben Davies. No?
You're funny.
33.
I'm not even entertaining that one.
I'm calling him
33. Where's the block button?
I'm calling him 33 from now on. He ain't playing.
No chance.
Not a chance. No.
What's your guys' thoughts on 3 at the back, or is it straight 4 at the back for you?
Four.
It's got to go
for me.
Yeah, 4 at the back, and I think Hill should play on merit, but I think he'll go with Moura.
Safe, yeah.
I probably would go with Moura, to be fair, because I think you know what you're going to get out of him in terms of that press and that energy. I think he'll go.
Great player off the bench here, wasn't it? Great player off the bench.
I definitely, at some point throughout the game, if we can get him on, 100%, because his movement will cause Arsenal trouble. They won't know what to do with his movement.
Let me ask this question then, because I personally think that Moore is a good impact player to bring off the bench, whereas I'm not quite sure, having not had the enough evidence to suggest that Hill is. I think Hill starting maybe would be a better opportunity for him to get into the game, and then for Moura to come on later, because I've seen Moura come on as a sub, and he always gives that energy, and he's always going to be very direct. So when the players are tired, it might create more mistakes in their back line. Whereas Hill, it just seems he needs a little bit more time to get into the game for me, rather than starting. I think he could be into the game, and then you could have the option.
It's probably the lack of pace. It's probably the lack of pace as well with that option as well, Sam, where Lucas Moura's pace still to this day at 30, 31 years old is better than Hill's, and probably one of the best in the team. So I think I agree with you. I think you could probably flip it either way for me. I think there's 2 decisions Nuno makes for the lineup. I think I'm surprised that you guys would go Dier Sanchez. I'm not surprised, but I think Romero could handle this game quite well. So I wouldn't be mad if Romero was with Dier.
I wouldn't be mad, but I'd be surprised if he did.
Okay, interesting. But the 2 decisions I think Nuno has to make is, like I said, Hill or Lucas, and Dele or Ndombele. And for me, it has to be Ndombele. But I have a feeling that Dele's going to start.
So you'd play Højbjerg and Skip?
I played 4-2-3-1. I played double.
Oh yeah, see, I'd play 4-2-3-1. That's what I would like to see.
Yeah,
just because as well, like we were mentioning with the Odegaard Smith Rowe, if that is a thing, and they do play Odegaard Smith Rowe, I think you probably do need to play 4-2-3-1 to sort of.
Yeah. I agree with that.
And if you leave Partey on his own, I'm not saying Partey's not a great defender, but Partey isn't a sole defensive midfielder. I don't think that's his role. He never really did that at Atletico Madrid. So I think Ndombele versus Partey, sort of catching him on his own, and then Kane obviously dropping as well. I think you could sort of tactically outdo them with that 4-2-3-1 switch.
Let Partey shoot as well. That'll be helpful.
Oh yeah, but astronauts are going to be getting those balls. So.
I think 4-2-3-1 is the formation I would probably like to see, because it just makes us more solid, doesn't it, from a defensive perspective, but also.
And Royal or Tanganga, guys, by the way, as well. That's
Tanganga all day long.
Tanganga all day for me tomorrow. Tanganga all day tomorrow.
The only problem is someone's going to have a word with Tanganga before the game, during the game, to say, listen, mate.
I think he'll learn.
Calm down,
I think he's got. I think that was a big lesson.
He's got Dier there. I think, and I think he's taught. I think when you got Dier on the pitch, he seems to be. This season seems to be
100%.
talking far more than what he's
ever done.
I'm telling
you, Dier's really impressed me this season. I don't know what it is, but I said that the 2 players that are on sort of probation for me were Ali and Dier. Ali's not convinced me yet, but Dier is slowly starting to convince me that he's actually turned a corner. I'm very impressed with Dier this season. Just wanted to say that.
There's something to unlock with Dele. I think he's now shown that he's got the engine. He can get up and down. He can get into positions block. Yeah. Now, I know this is what we should say as a given. I've always said that players running around is not that's
should be expected.
It should be expected. However, if he can now develop some aspects, I want to see him be a box. If I'm honest with you, I could see him being more of a box-to-box midfielder than maybe the number 10 that breaks into the box that we saw 4 or 5 years ago. I think that player, I don't know if we're going to see that. And I don't think we can fit him into the team because of it. You'd have to maybe play a 4-4-1-1 to get him in the team to get the best out of him. I don't think we're playing that. That's not Nuno's strength. However, he's going to need a good number 8 that's going to go box to box that does the job at the front part of the pitch and also has the energy to get back. And I think from what I've seen, he could possibly fulfill that role. It's whether or not he wants to.
We had an interesting chat on Ask Sid last night about Dele Alli. So if everyone's
I remember that.
Have a watch on that. I had Jack, and it was quite decent. It was a good chat about Dele, so a bit of an insight into him as well. But yeah, I think I agree with you, Sam. Box to box play, he could be that box to box that might.
I think that's what he's. Yeah.
Do you know what it is for me? Sadly, and I do agree with you. I think that we're not going to see the Dele Alli who scores 15, 20 goals a season anymore. That's for me, that is dead in the water. I don't think he's going to do that again. The only issue I have with him playing as a box-to-box midfielder is he doesn't specialize in anything, and that's my issue with Winks. And when you don't specialize in anything, you sort of can get lost in the game and almost not provide anything to the game, and that's almost even worse than sort of just running around or just solely defending like a Hotspur or just solely, do you know what I mean, creating like an Eriksen. I think that somebody like, and I know we haven't got him yet, but someone like a Pape Sarr who is better at everything than Ali, in my opinion, can do a lot more, is the better box-to-box midfielder. I just think if you're a box-to-box midfielder, it's good being a consistent player, but you need to have a specialty to sort of cement that that starting 11 team. Because you know what Skip's specialty is. You know what Hotspur's specialty is.
The only thing I would add to that, and I know it's probably not the right comparison because he's levels ahead, but Kante was almost pigeonholed in this holding midfielder. And I don't ever think he was. For France, he's the one that does everything. But now Tuchel seems to have employed him, and even Frank Lampard to a certain degree showed that he can be that box-to-box. He wasn't just a player that broke things up. And we've seen it even in the game that he played against us when he came on as a sub.
He was amazing.
He was running the show, running at both ends. So he's the player that I would want to model myself on if I was someone like Dele Alli, because you can get that out of him. It's whether you want to. Kante will run all day.
That's the thing, and that's the only issue. I think I agree with you. I don't think there's a comparison, but I think there's the level that he should be going towards. The thing is with Kante is he's a freak of nature. I've never seen a guy run so much and continue to defend, and his quality to continue to be at that level even when he's out. Like I said, Chelsea play 3-4-3. But let's not talk about Kante.
What we do, we're getting on to Chelsea and talking about Chelsea and Arsenal in this show. This is far too much. Mike, right? This is the part we always like. This part. Now I'm not going to start with you, Hustler, because I'm always starting with you first, and that's not fair.
Yeah.
So I'll come to you maybe second or third on this one. I'm going to start with myself on this one, so I get my.
What a surprise!
I think I know what you're going to say. No,
I'm not going to do that today. You know what? I'm going for this because I think Nuno. He seemed quietly confident in his press interview, and that for me, I really like to see some of the answers he gave was a lot different than what he's given in the past couple of weeks, and he didn't seem as the world's on my shoulders sort of look, which he had the last couple of weeks. So I'm thinking he's going for it. I'm thinking that we can get the goal early. I'm thinking then that Arsenal will try and get an equaliser. We'll sit back. 2-0 Spurs. There you go. Sam said it. 2-0 Spurs.
That's what I was going to say.
The beauty of going first. The beauty of it.
That's why you went first.
I'm surprised. Very surprised.
No, I think if we get that first goal, I think
you don't think we'll
change the way. You know what? I'm not. Arsenal have only scored 2 goals in the league.
Yeah, that's very true.
They haven't really. Yeah, they haven't blown it away, in my opinion. And they've scored against Norwich, and they've scored against who else was it? They beat.
That was a fumble, wasn't it? Norwich one.
Burnley. Both
1-0 both games.
Yeah, both those teams in and around.
You've not predicted Tottenham to concede in any of your predictions so far. You know, I've not.
That's crazy.
I haven't either. I don't think.
You know what? I'm quietly liking the fact that we've got a player in, like, this is coming off my screen. Sorry about this. It's got some just on my screen at the moment. I can see Dyer having a big influence on that back line. And I think the organisation that we can show, I think we can do it. And I think they're all scared of Son. They're always scared of Harry Kane, them Arsenal lot. They always know that them two players, if they turn up, will make a difference. And if we can keep that clean sheet, one of them two will score. And if it then becomes a counter-attack game, Maybe we'll pick them off late. That's why I'm going for the 2-0. And that's me. Finished. Right. Sid, what are you saying? What are you saying, mate?
What am I saying? You know, yesterday Jack predicted 1-0 to Spurs, right? And I said to him, Sam ain't going to be happy with you, mate. You've nicked it. But I don't agree with you. I agree with sort of what Darius was saying. And I think we will concede. Because Arsenal are at home and they'll be going for it. So at some point, I think they will get one. But I'm still going 2-1 Spurs.
You are killing me today. You're killing me.
Mike, look, mate, you go next. So I do you next.
Mate, I can't see more than... mate, I don't even know. I'm not going to...
Where's Mr. K?
Oh, damn me. Well, go on, Hustler. Go on then. You're next up. What are you telling me?
Well, I'm telling you, my score predictions, both of them have been nabbed.
Hold on, you said a minute ago you can't see.
I couldn't, but I was going to say no. I was going to go 2-0 because I honestly, I'm quite confident that we can keep a clean sheet tomorrow. But Sam took that, so I was like, oh, okay, I'll give him a benefit of the doubt. I'll go 2-1. But now you've taken that, so what am I going to do? I don't think it's going to be a 1-0. I don't. I'll go 1-0.
1-0.
I don't think. Hold on a minute. I don't think that will be the scoreline. I think it'll be 2-0 Spurs. However, I'm going to go with just the 1-0 because I'm not going 3-0. That's just nonsense. I can't see Arsenal conceding 3 goals at all. But
stranger things happen in these North London derbies we've seen. But yeah, I agree with you. I don't see that happening.
Nah. I'll go 1-0.
1-0 to the Hustler. What you saying? What you telling me? Score tomorrow. Score prediction.
I have to do head and heart. I always have to do head and heart, especially for a North London derby. My head says 2-2, and it says 2-2, and it'll probably annoy you. I actually imagine us taking a 2-goal lead. Just like, do you remember the 2-2? I think it was about 2 or 3 years ago where that exact thing happened at the Emirates, where we took a 2-goal lead and they scored 2 before halftime. And then it just stayed 2-2. I can imagine that exact same thing happening. So I'm going to go 2-2, but my heart did say 2-1, and I was saying 2-1 for a lot of the time. I'm actually going to change my mind now. I am going to go 2-2 just because it's the Emirates, and we haven't won.
Yeah.
This is
like we won 2 times in, 28 years?
Yeah.
It's just, as much as I hate that club and as much as I really, really want us to win, I do think that Arsenal have got players back, and I do think that they will have quite a lot of attacking threat on that pitch. And I can see them scoring 2 goals, but I also can see us scoring 2 goals. As I was saying earlier on, we're both as bad as each other at the moment, and we both need the win as desperately as each other at the moment, which leads me to think that it will be a high-scoring game. So I am going to go 2-2. But I don't know if 2-2 is going to be good for my heart because that's not going to be nice.
If he's got Tanganga, Sanchez, Dyer, and Reggie, that back line hasn't conceded a goal this season.
That's very true.
If he goes Romero, then yeah, I think you've got there could be. And if he goes Royale at right back, I'm sticking with that.
Unless Arsenal actually change their whole mindset about how they approach games, they haven't scored a lot in the league. They haven't looked like they did look threatening. In which game was it? I think it was a cup game where they looked a little bit threatening.
What, Wimbledon, mate?
But that's against Wimbledon. Come on now.
And the 6-0 against West Brom B team as well.
I was going to say the 6-0 against West Brom.
It's those sort of things which I look into and I think, you know what? Arteta's not a manager. I don't think he's just going to say, you know what, guys, just go for it, because I think he's very pragmatic himself.
I also think he's thinking about his job as well.
Yeah,
his reputation.
He knows if he's the manager to lose against Spurs at the Emirates, having not lost there for 11 years or whatever it is in terms of Arsenal, he's going to get it from the fans. He really will get it tomorrow. So let's hope that pressure ramps up on him. Just reading some comment here from Cuva99. I was 1-1 earlier in the week, but I felt us winning 2-0 since last night too. Yes, that's my score line. I'm sticking with the 2-0. Yeah, I think it's going to be a good one. Any final thoughts? I'll come around. Mike's gone on mute at the moment. I'll come around to you. I'll be back. Sid first. Final thoughts for tomorrow.
Just I hope they've had good preparations today, and all I'll say tomorrow is, as long as we've got that tomorrow and they all want to play for the badge, then I see no problems. And I have to see happy results, happy days, good day for the Spurs fans, because I got a good feeling.
Got a good feeling. We're probably going to get done for copyright you singing on this stream anyway. But like I said, it's all good. It's all good. Hustler, final thoughts?
I'm going to keep it short and sweet. Just get the job done. Get the job done. 3 points. Bring it home, and let's crack on the rest of the season. Hopefully, that'll give us the momentum going into the next few games, at least, to pick the points up and push us back up higher than the league.
We've got a game on Thursday against somebody in the ECL. That's how much I know about the team we're playing. I don't even know who we're playing, but that's after tomorrow. My focus is on tomorrow. Darius, final thoughts?
I'm going to keep it short and simple, like our Hotspur hustler friend here. I think you're spot on, mate. You should get the job done. Literally, I don't care. And I'm saying this now, so when we watch the game and sort of we do the post-match reaction, I can go back to this and say, I actually don't care what happens. If we even lose 1-2-0, but you know what I mean? We played disgusting. We tried to get a result. I don't care. We just need to get the results. So, and also, I will also say this. When Tomiyasu gets man of the match and scores an equaliser, do not be surprised, because I'm still angry to this day that he plays for that team and not ours. Those Arsenal fans are raving about him, and I tried to tell people he's going to be a massive regret for us. But hey, he don't play for us now. I just know he's going to play out of his skin on tomorrow.
Listen, I'm not going to get too excited about Tomiyasu. It's great the first couple of games you're flying. Let's see what he's like in 6. They were raving about Bellerin. You know what I mean? Bellerin up to the other day was their greatest player, or greatest right back, and that soon went downhill. Exactly. So I'm not bothered about Tomiyasu. Yes, he's played well in his couple of games I've seen him, but let's see what he's like in 6 months' time, eh? Final thoughts on the show. So it's been a good one. I'm looking forward to the game tomorrow. 2-0 to me, I said, to the Spurs tomorrow. Sid saying 2-1. Mike saying 1-0. Darius saying 2-2 with his head. But with his heart, he's saying 2-1. Let's see what happens. It's a game that I don't think we have. I always hate using the word have to win, but it's such a one of them games which if we win it, I think it's going to do so much for Nuno, so much for the players, and to lose it, it's going to have the effect of a couple of steps backwards. And I don't want to see him go back under that pressure of having to win the next game again. But
you know what?
We have got a UECL game, so that should be taken for granted anyway. But let's see what happens. Like, subscribe, share, comment. PAXTON Road TV. We're almost at the 1,000 subs. Help us get there over the next week or so. That'll be amazing. Join us tomorrow again for the reaction show, where I'm sure the Fab Four, Fantastic Four, Fabulous Four, whatever you want to call us, will be there. We may have a couple more people on as well. I'm sure there'll be people crowing if we win, and there'll be people drowning their sorrows if we lose. But we will be reacting to it tomorrow, so join us for that.
And one final thing, Sam, before we go. Tonight, we're hoping AJ is going to do a knockout punch, and leading on to that, tomorrow, let's knock them out tomorrow. Let's have a double knockout.
That's a good shot. That's a big game on. Big game. That's a big fight on tonight, and that's another story we could get into. But anyway,
all I'm saying is AJ better fund our big transfer for the summer. That's all I'm going to say. That boxing fight better fund our transfer for the summer.
Absolutely.
Fully sold out. 66,000 apparently going to be that to watch. Lovely. AJ. And it's going to be a tough fight, so tune in for that. But we're on PAXTON Road. We're not on Sky Sports Boxing Channel.
Nope.
We're going to go on, and we're going to go. So, guys, Hustler, PAXTON Road, Darius, Sid, Spurs, thank you very much. Let us go and watch the rest of this other game that's happening now. Take care.
See you later.